Monday, March 16th. At this time, I'm going to call upon everyone to stand so we can pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I usually ask that we stand for a moment of silence in honor of our soldiers, past and present, but this evening I'm going to ask that we have a moment of silence in honor of our soldiers who are in harm's way in the conflict in the Middle East. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to, well, before we do that, I have an announcement to make, that this meeting is being recorded by Dartmouth Community Media, and that our next scheduled meeting is a 40B. It's scheduled for March 23rd at 6 o'clock here in this room, and it's for the residences at Hawthorne Case. We usually move on to the public hearings portion of tonight's meeting. However, we're going to skip that, given that we're having some IT difficulties with the computer and the screen for the presentation.
I think he's ready.
We're good now? All right, we're good, so we don't have to take it out of order. We're good, all right. So the next case that we have is comprehensive. It's actually the next and the only case that we have on for this evening is comprehensive permit ZCMP-25-2. It was continued from January 8th, 2026. The petitioner is Robert Lincoln, and the owner of the property is Sherbrooke Farms LLC, and the subject property is located at 498 Old Westport Road, also known as map 48, lot 29. It's located in the single residence B district, and this matter was legally advertised, and we've already waived the reading of the abutters list. The petitioner in this case is seeking a comprehensive permit pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40B, and the comprehensive permit guidelines. The petitioner is proposing a development on approximately 81.8 acres to be known as Sherbrooke Farms, to be located at 498 Old Westport Road. The development will have a total of 156 units of rental housing, including 39 affordable units. The petitioner is requesting waivers from the following zoning bylaws. I'm not going to recite all of them. I'm sure we've done most of them. We will probably go over some of these later on in the hearing process. So for anyone in the audience, I'm sure you recall that this matter has previously been open. We've had some comment about traffic and the impacts of traffic with this proposed development. And today we're going to be discussing civil and wastewater. Or stormwater, I'm sorry. I always get those confused. We're discussing stormwater. But before I actually do that, I want to acknowledge a few letters, gentlemen. And I'm going to be asking for a motion that we accept and file the letters that have been submitted. So one letter that was submitted, which we've read, and I'm sure that we've all read, that this was dated November 7th of 2025 by Ian McGonigal. There's another letter from a Jim Costa that was dated November 25th of 2025. We also have a letter from Carol Cabral that was dated January 8th, 2026. And we have a letter from Fred and Kate Dabney that was dated January 21st, 2026. Gentlemen, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept and file the letters that were just stated now.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Now, moving on. So at this time, I'm going to call upon the petitioner's representative or their representative so they can give us an update as to what's transpired. Just generally, what's transpired. If you could come up here. If you can identify yourself for the record.
My name is Mira Kedis of Conoco Engineer and Scientist. I'm here in behalf of Sherbrooke Farms LLC. My company located at 4 First Street in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. The project is located at 489 Old Westport Road, Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Also here with me is Damian Dimitrik of Conoco Engineer and Rick Lincoln of Sherbrooke Farms. So I'm gonna give you like a brief overview of the project. So our project is like the owner has like he owned like 3 parcels with total of 85 acres. Most likely our disturbed area or our project gonna be just on 10.81 acre. Also, the project like involves the construction of 4 buildings, main buildings. Each building about like 16.2 thousand square feet, 3 stories. Each building has 38 units with total of 152 units for the whole sites. Also, the project like has associated with parking, paved access, drainage stuff like drainage system, sewer system, and also the utilities. The drainage consists of like 3 underground infiltration systems and also 2 open basins. Those are like to control and treat the stormwater. So the major revision here, if you can, in the layout. So we add location for bicycle parking here, here, and here. It's about like 5 locations for parking, bicycle parkings. Also, we add 2 more additional dumpster pads here, and also we revise the auto turn based on those new locations. Also, we extend here the sidewalk in the street to be all the way to the eastern side of the property here. For the drainage, revise. So we revised the whole like grading to have a net balance, so we don't have or 0 import and export for the fill and cut. Also, we grade this area, the northwestern area, based on the new grading, and also we revised the retaining wall behind here. We add steps, and also we add some like accessible ramps to the buildings, to the entrance of the buildings, of those 3 buildings, to work out with our grading. And now we use the internal like drop foundation for the building. All the design, all the systems worked well with our new design. Now I'm gonna pass the presentation to Damien to like finish it up.
Before you do that, I have a quick question. I thought initially this was 156 units. I thought I heard you say 152.
52.
It's 152.
Right, so has it been reduced?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. If you need to speak from there because your computer's there, I'm more than glad to do that. It's just she didn't require it. I don't think she needed a computer, but if you do, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it makes it helpful. Okay, so yeah, Damien Dimitrik, Conoco Engineers and Scientists, as introduced by Mira, for First Street, here on behalf of Sherbrooke Farms. So since the last meeting, that was on, prior to the last meeting, we had received comments from Niche, dated 12/10/2026. We had the meeting on January 22nd. During that presentation, there was a lot of traffic analysis, site civil, and the environmental discussions. Just as kind of a summary, traffic analysis concerns were addressed and discussed at that meeting. We're not aware of any additional comments that have come from the traffic review that have been submitted to us. So from our understanding, that has been resolved with the peer review. Environmental, as discussed at the last meeting, those are being worked out with the authority of DEP for mitigation of cleanup for on-site contamination concerns associated with the concrete and I believe, other DEP concerns. That was all presented at the last meeting. I won't go into details, it's not my purview. There was discussion, and then there was the discussions on the site civil. We indicated that we were working on the revisions per Niche's comments that were dated the 12/10. Since then, we resubmitted responses back to them on February 13th with revised plans, calculations. We then received additional comments dated March 10th, so last week. It was 3 minor comments associated with the number of apartment units. They just wanted that number to be shown on the cover. It has been added. An additional time of concentration line adjustment, which has been edited, and then a table within the drainage report being changed. It originally called out 80%. They wanted it to be 90%. We met the requirement in the first place. So all kind of clerical minor changes from the last set of comments. And then, the folks at Niche had also indicated that, there was other points within the responses that we would be supplying at later, but there's no additional comments from them, and I'll let them discuss, their review of the plans from there. So with those revised receipts, we sent those back on the 12th, so 2 days after being received. Again, minor comments, we can supply all of those changes in a complete package at a later date if necessary, but given the turnaround time to this meeting, we just wanted to get that information back across as quickly as possible. So, from our understanding, there should be no real site civil outstanding issues at this point associated with the layout and the drainage. I'll let, again, if Niche has, peer review can come in there. Moving forward, we just want to understand any outstanding concerns by the board, anything that needs to be brought up, discussed. Hopefully, we can address and close the hearing and move that stuff. But I'll turn it back over to you guys for, any additional comments, questions, or how you see.
Do you know what the ratio is now from parking spaces to the number of units?
It is still the 1.76.
One point what?
1.76. It was 267, here we'll go to.
Right now, it's 1.76?
Yes.
I thought it was less than that before.
Nope,
Yeah.
that's.
I thought it was around 1.5.
No, that was, the 1.5 ratio, 1.55 was what the peer review traffic had used the ITE, the Institute of Traffic Engineering manual, to say that the 85th percentile requirement was 1.55 parking ratio. We're at 1.76.
So what are the number of parking spaces there right now, total, on that plan, the revised plan?
So as I zoom into the parking here, we are at, you can see down here in the corner, we're at 267 spaces.
267, 152 units. Yeah, 1.76.
Okay.
1.76.
Well, you took the wind out of my sails. Okay, I didn't think that's where it was before, but that's okay. I don't have any questions, gentlemen, at this point in time. Attorney Human or Mr. Schubert, you guys have any questions of the,
No, I don't have any questions. I mean, they've been working with the peer review and the peer.
Yeah, we're gonna hear from him shortly.
He's here, so
Yeah.
we can confirm to, yeah.
all right, so we're gonna give him the floor at this point. Come on up. It's Mr. Gabriel, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you, Board. My name, again, Mark Gabriel. For the record, Niche Engineering, Civil Site Stormwater Peer Reviewer. So Damien just went through a lot of the dates and the meetings that we had. I was going to say that, so I don't need to repeat that. But yes, we have been communicating back and forth through this process. And my last peer review on the letter that I submitted on March 10th basically was going through what they had submitted on February 12th. Taking a look at the plans and the updated calculations for stormwater. And the response from their peer review letter to us was that either the comment has been addressed, so we made sure that that was the case, that documentation would be provided post-approval, which we understand that and will help clarify that down the road in a separate letter if needed. And then, or the requirements requested to be waived and put on the list of waivers. So that's what we had taken a look at. There were a few minor things, as he mentioned, that were just clerical, and they have since addressed those minor items. And that's really all I have at this point.
They did say something about a sidewalk there that they've extended,
They did extend the sidewalk. We noticed that on the plans, correct?
and does that actually meet up with an existing sidewalk that's along Old Westport Road?
There is an existing sidewalk along there, yes.
That meets up with it?
That I don't know. I don't believe I saw on the survey the extent of the existing sidewalk over there. I don't know, Damien, if we could ask the engineer if that does meet up with that.
Well, it doesn't seem that it serves a lot of purpose if it's just its own area that has a sidewalk and the rest of it doesn't, to get to where they need to get to. If they're heading, it would be east, I would take it.
True, but I have seen applicants from frontage to frontage provide their sidewalks in front of their parcel, not to extend it down the street in front of other people's parcels.
All right. Thank you.
Yes?
So I just want to make a note, because the traffic engineers are not here tonight, and there was a comment that they've been resolved. I think that is my understanding, but I will go back and review what the traffic engineer, peer review engineer provided, that there has been response back and forth. My understanding, though, is that what was left open, and maybe this comes up in the items to be addressed, permit, post-approval, if approved, et cetera, is the connection of the crosswalks from the project side across to the other side, and the, handicap accessible ramps, all that type of work was something that the traffic engineer had called out as something that should be addressed by the applicant, but I don't believe Mr. Gabriel is shown on the project plans. When the crosswalks come over from the project side to the Lucy Little side and they meet up there, those connections, I'm sorry, I'm not an engineer, those connections have not necessarily, improvements have not been shown.
Correct. It's not
Okay.
clearly indicated on the plans. Some improvements are shown there. Sorry, I am not the traffic engineer, but I'll
Right.
speak for them briefly. Some improvements have been shown in that area. They're just looking for some additional clarity on what's going to happen there.
Okay, so that's an item that isn't necessarily closed out. Your traffic engineer has not they haven't signed off on the plan, not meaning that they have additional comments coming, just that that's a comment that remains outstanding and may have to be addressed in conditions if the permit's granted. So that's just a note that I had from prior hearing.
Thank you. All right. This is a public hearing, and I have previously opened this up to the public. And at this point in time, I'm going to do the same this evening. So I noticed that there are some people out here. There are not as many as there were the last time. But of the people that are here, is there anyone that would like to come up and speak either in favor or in opposition, or just basically make a statement of some concern that you may have about the project? And today, we're limited to civil and stormwater. So those are the two experts that we have here today. They've presented, they've indicated to us that they've spoken, they've ironed out a lot of the concerns that we had raised, at least the last time. The project, one thing that's happened is they've reduced the number of units from 156 to 152. And we're at 1.75 parking spaces per unit. And from what I understand, that seems to be on the higher end of what the requirements are. Is anyone, come on up, just please state your name. You know how it works.
Norman De Silva, 523 Old Westport Road, Dartmouth, Mass. Just a couple of questions. I think, you want to just talk about the stormwater and the civil engineering of the property? Okay. When they changed the entrance, they eliminated, I believe, the brush to the left, any type of protection from the roadway. And because they said something about it was a site issue. I'd like to know why. I wouldn't be in favor of that. I don't see why the board should be in favor of that. We're trying to insulate the residents from the building. I don't see why it should be allowed to have no brush around there, or no trees or evergreens.
Okay. Obviously, we'll have our guy, he's not a traffic guy per se, but I think he might be able to answer that. I think we're always worried about growth of brush. It may be one size today, it's something else in 2 years, and then you're dealing with visibility issues. And we always like to err on the side of caution and making sure that we make the project safer and not with the potential of it becoming unsafe or less safe. But we'll let them discuss as to what that may be. Is there another question?
Yeah, on the vegetation. Then there was, the location of the dumpster. Why would you have the dumpster in the front of the building on the left side? Shouldn't the dumpster go in the rear of the building because of smell and so forth? You got the dumpster, I believe, is located on the, what would that be, the west side on the corner?
I see.
I believe the dumpster should be allowed, they should be going in the rear of the building. Obviously, traffic and smell and so forth.
All right. Something else, sir?
Well, you just want to stick to the stuff, the engineering stuff. I just don't understand whether they're attempting to get variances on landscape islands and shade and tree variances, and that they're not, the list of stuff that's on there. I just don't know why the board would allow that. Those things are all in place for a reason.
All right, hold on one second. Let me just clarify something. The term is a waiver. A variance, no, because it's tough to get a variance, and there's some pretty stringent requirements, statutory requirements, in order to get a variance.
Okay.
These people, they're coming in on the 40B,
Yep.
and our bylaws are basically set aside, and they're coming in under a state statute and a mandate that indicates what they can and cannot ask for. And at this point, all we can do is, when they present what they're trying to do, we weigh, there's a balancing test between the need for affordable housing and the impact on the local community. That's sort of the two interests that we're weighing out here. So it's not like we're not definitely granting them a variance per se.
Okay, I'm sorry, not variance, but
So
you're
I
up.
just want to make sure you make that clear, just because
Okay,
I don't
I'm
want people
sorry.
thinking we're
Okay.
granting variances à la carte here. It's not what it is. But what they do ask for, which it smells a lot like a variance, is they're asking for a waiver.
Right.
They're asking for waivers from these requirements,
Okay,
which
so-
they can ask for.
Ask for it,
You
but
can ask for it.
I'm imploring the board to say, why would you grant any of these things, all these conditions?
Because here's what happens. If we don't grant them, then they go to the Housing Commission in Boston, and they will grant them to them. So we can put conditions above and beyond what they probably would get from the Housing Commission.
Right.
So there's the uncertainty. I don't know exactly what the Housing Commission would do. I wish I had a better pulse on that.
Yeah.
So that I would know where, we could actually, how much we could push in one direction or another. I don't know what that is. We have counsel who gives us explanations as to what her experience has been in that. And believe me, the questions have been asked.
Right.
The questions have been asked. So, is there one in particular that bothers you, that we could take a look at it?
No, I mean, let's put it this way. I think the majority of people in the town are against these, all three of them. They're against them, but I'm pretty damn
I
sure.
think that's a fair assessment to make.
Thank you. And one core thing that I'd like to know is, and I'm not a politician, but I know that we have a state rep and we have a senator, and I haven't seen their comments about any of this. They're supposed to represent the town of Dartmouth, and I don't see why you people wouldn't reach out to them and ask them, what the heck are you doing to protect us with this? And maybe they'll tell you nothing, but at least they should come out and say, there's nothing we can do if that's the case. I implore the board to go out and ask these people, what can you do to help us? Thank you.
I just want to address that comment. We're not a political board. We're not elected. We're appointed. In this state, judges are very non-political. We're not judges, but there's an analogy.
Right.
The planning board's elected by the members of the community. The zoning board, not so much. That's
Sure.
not how it is. We are appointed and we serve at the pleasure of the select board. We are a very non-political board. I implore the members of the community who have concerns to reach out to their senator and to their local representative. Your point is well taken. It's just a direction a little misplaced, that's all.
So you don't feel it's the board's place to ask for support? You're the team dressed in green, and they're the team that states the team in red. And you're saying that you shouldn't go after the team, Bruce. You should just go along, we should just lay down
We
and
don't
go
go
along
along,
with
we
them?
listen to both sides. We have to apply the rules that are given to us, just like the law, with variances. Here is a special permit. It's one of the worst types of permits that I believe exist. And I agree with you that, there ought to be communication that goes upward towards the State House. But I'm not in a position where I think I should or even consider doing that. But I only speak for myself. If my members of the board feel that they personally want to do something, they're allowed to do that. But I implore any one of you out in the audience to speak to them.
Okay. One other thing I was going to ask, has there been any consideration, is this the most they can develop this property, or could they put another 20 units in the back?
That's a good question. My understanding is it's wet in the back, and I think this is well, actually, one of the things that we can do as a condition is we can put a condition on there, there's to be no further development on the site beyond what has been proposed.
Right, I agree.
And I'm gonna ask that we make a special note on that.
Okay, there was just something on there, just a small thing, but they said that according to their engineers, that the noise level would be similar, their exact quote was, "similar to surrounding residential area." I don't see how that can possibly be. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gabriel, I got two questions for you, I believe. One has to do with the brush at the entranceway. I think the gentleman's concerned about ensuring that there's a significant enough buffer to screen what this is going to look like in relation to a view from the roadway onto the premises. So I guess, I don't know, do you know why the brush was being cut back?
The idea, no, I don't know the exact reason, but I would venture to guess that you need sight distance, and you need to be able to clear that brush in the right of way to be able to have that sight distance. That said, the plan, there is a landscaping plan for the project, one that's going to be further developed post-approval. And if you would like, I'm sure the engineer could speak to what that landscaping would look like along the property line in that area.
Do you have that landscaping plan tonight?
I do not believe I have
All
the
right.
landscaping layout. Yeah.
But your assessment would be that it's probably because of the sight distance for viewing from the driveway, or the entranceway to the project?
Correct. And on a future list of recommendations would have a landscaping plan be updated for that area as well, and make sure that the site is landscaped appropriately.
Okay, great. Now, what about the dumpster location? What's your take on that? Is it actually out front there where there's that little rectangle piece? Is that where it is?
The dumpster out front there, yeah, by that rectangle piece.
Now, the thing is this. I also know that there's significant change in topography between the roadway and this particular site. I know it's more pronounced to the easterly portion of the site. Is that safe to say?
The existing topography?
Yes.
Yeah, so, let's see if I can get it to show here a little bit better here. So yes, the eastern portion of the site, there is a drop. Let's see if we can actually, this isn't the best view here. There is a pretty significant drop in grades off the back of the site. So we can see here on the hand, it's a little difficult to see. We got a 115 elevation, you can see over here. And then as we enter into the existing site, you see a 193, or a 93.
93, okay.
Yeah, I apologize.
So that's 7 and 15, that's 22-foot difference?
From that of the existing roadway down, right?
Right, so that's the existing roadway to the existing condition.
Yes.
Now, where will be what will the finish grade be once the parking area is developed?
Yeah, so once, again,
And these buildings are 3 stories high, right?
correct. So the proposed grading in roughly that same area, we will be bringing it up to 102.
102, and the road is 115.
Yes, so there is actually along the front, there is a retaining wall, as we can see here with the top of wall about 113, with a drop down to 103.
So actually, the top of the first level will be lower than the roadway.
Correct.
Okay. Now, what about the dumpster location? That's something, obviously, you guys could move it towards the back if need be.
Yeah, well, that we could move it around. You know, we're trying to spread the dumpsters throughout the property, right? You know, if they're all in the same locations.
So how many are there?
There's 4. Let me go back to my layout sheet, just to get rid of some of this clutter.
Yeah. And they're screened?
Yep, screened, fenced in, you know, gates out front, you know, they'll have appropriate, they'll be picked up once a week, you know, standard dumpster protocol. So we have 1, 2, 3 in the back, and then there's 1 over here, again, you know, mostly servicing, you know, again, trying to just spread so that there's not just one concentrated location, you know, so someone in this corner or this corner of a building don't have, you know, it just, they're allowed to have, you know, they have a closer route to a dumpster.
But that's something that could be moved quite rather easily.
Yeah, if requested by the board.
Alrighty. I think that pretty much covers it, no? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Sure.
Those of us who are not savvy engineers, what, you show on the plan the underground infiltration system?
Yes.
How does that work? How does it work?
Happy to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things.
Can't wait.
Okay. Let's get to the.
It's actually quite neat.
Yeah. So let's see if we can get a good detail here. So this is a cross-section detail over here, and then here's some plan view details.
Just a quick question, on the property, there are 3 separate
Yep.
units, right?
Yes.
Okay, right.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So the way that the drainage system works, right, so these little darker black dots, those are catch basins. There's a grate shown, closer detail. The water will get collected and graded to these locations, and then drop into a deep sub-hooded catch basin. I think I've explained this in pretty good detail at the last meeting. I won't go into that too much. From there, it goes into a manhole, which is just a connection structure to collect the water, put it into a larger pipe and direct it. You know, it's more for efficiency of construction. And then from there, we go into a water quality unit, similar to the catch basins, except more advanced. There's proprietary, there's, you know, case studies done, and it basically it has additional oil and sediment removal from the water, you know, reduces the total suspended solids within the water as it crosses its way into the system. So then we get to the infiltration chamber system, which is what you, you know, requested the discussion be about. So that's basically their underground half pipes. You know, they're cut in half, and the bottom of them, they're placed on top of a stone bed with a geotextile fabric. And what those do is the water is allowed, basically it's a volume storage area creation. And the stormwater goes and collects into those chamber systems, and the water will slowly build up, and it, you know, similar to a leaching, it's a, you know, a time-tested engineering practice. The water will build up over time, create pressure, and it will leach directly into the ground. You know, with those systems, again, there's all those pre-treatment devices that catch oils and greases and everything like that. Prior to being infiltrated, you know, prior to making their way to the system, we actually have isolation rows, which are one of those upside down pipes cut in half, is completely wrapped in filter fabric on top of the additional fabric that is placed at the bottom of the stone. So it's removing sediment, isolating, you know, removing greases, and then, you know, same with a septic system, a standard leaching septic system. A lot of the pollution is actually a lot of the removal of contaminant, anything that would be in the stormwater is actually removed by the soil below the system, right? So there's a 4-foot separation from the bottom of the system to estimated seasonal high groundwater. Typically, water's lower than that. This is the highest that it is estimated to be over a period, over throughout the year. Basically, right now is actually the highest groundwater season, March to May. So with that, the water has to go through that 4 feet of separation before it hits existing groundwater. The sediment, or the soil below the sand actually then additionally treats the stormwater before it enters in. So, the chambers themselves are just a storage volume. To then allow the water to build up there. There's a wear outlet on the other side of these, so we show it right here would be a good example. So that is actually a manhole with a weir in it, and that's set at a particular elevation so that water has to stay within the chambers before it is released out. I believe for most of these systems, they're designed to nearly hold, and infiltrate up to the 100-year storm. I believe most of the design, the lower end storms, the 2-year storm, the 5, 10, I'm 100%, I don't have it in front of me. Very little trickles out of these systems because it's good sandy soil out there. It's very easy to infiltrate the groundwater.
So you're talking about any water that comes off the buildings and any water that comes off the driveways and any water that comes off the parking spaces?
Yes, and anything that is collected within the drainage system. Per stormwater standards, no new untreated stormwater is allowed to discharge from the site. So the only thing that we wouldn't have to treat would be walkways or, technically, so like roof does need to be treated, but it's a lesser requirement. And then like other grassed areas, other things that don't pollute those types of contaminants, those are allowed to run off directly into, off the site into the adjacent resource areas.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to come up and ask any questions or state your opinion as to whether or not you oppose or support this project? Come on up. Please state your name and address, please.
My name is Iris Begley. I live on Cedar Dell, which is off of Fisher Road. And I guess my questions and comments are around what we just heard on the infiltration system. That is in the aquifer zone, correct? This proposed project?
Yes.
So how is that going to be monitored and tested to be sure that it's not going through? What is the process? I don't know what the process is today, even how the town monitors that, but then how are they going to monitor this system, which sounds very sophisticated and is going to do a pretty good job of, taking care of this water, but how are we going to be sure that it's not going to be contaminating the aquifer and the wells in the area? That's what I'd like to have a little bit more discussion around.
It's a very good question. We've heard it before in other projects. People ask us, but I'll let this gentleman explain.
Okay, so according to the stormwater standards, we're in a zone 2, wellhead protection zone. Per their guidelines, what we have to do is we apply a pre-treatment is a more intensive design practice. So that's why the additional, as I had discussed, these water quality units that are before the infiltration chamber systems, and then additionally the isolation rows. So per the stormwater standards, we have to get 44% TSS removal in normal stormwater guidelines and everything to that extent. Like if we weren't in that zone 2, we would not have needed to install the water quality units and we would not have needed to have the isolation row. Those were additional factors that played into, due to the zone 2 that we are in. So we are meeting the standards and going above and beyond that which is required by the Mass DEP stormwater standards. And then the project itself, within the stormwater, we have an operation and maintenance guideline plan within the report that requires these systems be maintained, cleaned out on a regular basis, either depending on the system, it's the amount of sediment that builds up. If there's any oils, gases, or grease, seen within them, they're supposed to be inspected on, again, depending on the unit and that on a regular basis. So the idea is that we capture anything that would be infiltrating prior to that, it actually entering into the infiltration system, and then ideally be able to clean that out on a regular basis. There's an operation and maintenance plan that the applicant is required to follow, perpetually associated with the approval of the site.
So the town monitors this, is that correct? And if there's some type of an issue, then what happens?
Well, I'm sure there's enforcement. The thing is I don't know who directly enforces. I don't know if it's the building inspector or DPW, or maybe a conjunction of both. But I've heard that very same explanation at least a couple dozen times, because this is not new to new construction type proposals. So we've heard that before, but the enforcement of it, I don't know, but I'd like to think that either our building inspector or the DPW, they do periodic reviews, because this is not the only, there are many sites in town that have these installed.
Sure.
May not be to this extent because of the location that this is in the Aquifer District, but we do have,
I thought it was the Board of Health at one time.
was it the Board of Health? Well, we got the direct, Mr. Barber, Tim Barber. I'm sorry. If you could come up and explain who it is that actually monitors these or inspects them, and how regularly it may be done.
Good evening, Tim Barber, Director of Public Works. So the Department of Public Works does do all the inspections on the installation. And then operation and maintenance, as the gentleman mentioned, is required. And then through our MS4 permit with the EPA, we're required to also report on any operation and maintenance. So we would do periodic checks as well.
So you go door to door on occasion to find out and ensure that they're actually having and following the maintenance plan?
Yep. We also do, open air systems as well for detention ponds and infiltration basins.
Which they have here as well?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's DPW.
And I would presume that someone who specializes in this signs off that they've gone to the premises and they've checked it and it's working properly and it's properly maintained?
Yes. And we also work alongside with our consultant, our stormwater consultant as well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and ask any questions or speak as to their position on this petition? All right.
Mr. Chair,
Murphy.
I've just been tracking as you've been going through the hearing process, any comments that Mass Housing put in the site eligibility letter for the project.
Okay.
Just to see whether everything's been covered. Most, for example, the traffic studies, et cetera, that's happened, the, civil design. We already talked, there is a comment in here about the applicants encouraged to work to address concerns, providing safe connections to existing sidewalks, so we talked about that earlier. And then the applicant should engage with the municipality's fire department, and I'm sorry if it's already posted and maybe I missed it, but I didn't know if any letters had been obtained from the fire district for the project as far as, the fire trucks can make their turn.
Yeah, I think there's an exit area. Maybe you can speak to us about that.
Right.
And the south-
Just see, do you have
southeast-
anything in writing from the fire chief from the applicable fire district that they are comfortable with the fire truck circulation, all that? I'm just trying to check the box here.
Yeah, I mean, I know there has been discussions because there was a conversation about the entrance access here to the set. I do not recollect or recall any specific writing component. I don't know if Rick or Mira, if you guys recall anything specifically that we've received. That is it, yeah. I do believe there was discussions with, I can't say, I guess, I don't have that history.
Is it possible so that the board has it for the file to be able to state that the fire chief for the fire district has reviewed the plans and is comfortable, and if they have any,
Yeah, I wouldn't
Like,
want
I
to
don't-
speak out of
usually
turn
we'll
with the
see a
fire
lo-
department, so we'll have to confirm that, I guess.
Okay, because sometimes they'll get the letter and they'll say, we need a new fire hydrant, or, or it's fine, or I think that's just one thing, that's one of the bullet points here in the site eligibility letter to,
Yeah.
Before we go to the next one, can we just check with our consultant? Did you happen to have any communications with the fire?
No, I didn't reach out directly to the fire department.
Is there anything here that you find that might be somewhat concerning, given, I don't know, given the length of the apparatuses that we may have for that particular district?
I hadn't actually, because they also had the designated fire exit lane there. There were numerous truck turning templates, as you can see, there's one here with the apparatus, and there were fire hydrants spread throughout the property. But I do like the comment about just closing it up with a letter from the fire department.
Okay.
Okay. And then, and I think these may have all been touched upon, but it's, the applicant should be prepared to address municipal comments, including detailed plans for snow storage. Did we cover snow storage, or they showed on any of the plans?
What kind of storage? I couldn't hear.
Snow.
Snow storage.
After this past year, it might be, might not happen for another 10 years, but
Yeah.
is there a snow storage plan? Just
Yeah, we do show, what we like to, the way that I often describe is most snow storage will be placed into the adjacent landscaping area. That's what happens for 90% of storms, right, that we've dealt with, but then we do have years like this, where we do end up with an overburden of snow. What we propose is that, you know, you can see I call out here along the frontage, right, an overburdened snow stockpile area.
Okay.
We do typically try to, included, you know, those in a couple of other locations. That's a pretty big swath there. And then in the stormwater management report, we also outlined that, you know, snow should be stored in there if it is not allowed to be into the adjacent landscaped areas. If it becomes, you know, that overburdened snow storage area becomes overpowered by the amount of snow, then it will be trucked off-site and paid for by the apartment, you know, as such, as needed.
Okay, and then the next item was landscaping, but I think they mentioned already there'll be a
Plan.
later plan. Paving, I think, was covered. Isn't there one that they is suggesting post-approval, a final landscape plan?
I didn't see, was that with the waiver? I don't remember. Actually, that was another question for, I have a question for Mr.
So,
Gabriel.
absolutely.
So, I know with other applications, there were waiver requested for stormwater design and for some of the civil that to be provided after if the project is approved. Do you think, what's the percentage of the civil plans at this time with the stormwater? You think at the 100% or close to 100%? Do they need to do anything past, let's say we voted on this, either in favor or not, or do they have to provide more information on the stormwater? Do they have to go back for calcs, for any additional details that they have to do? Or you think they're pretty, I mean, I know with the 40B, they don't have to provide 100% plans at this time anyways. We understand that. I'm just trying to understand what other plans to be coming later. I mean, is it the landscape is one of them, or it's one of them? Landscape?
I was letting you finish it.
Okay.
Yes, landscaping is one of them.
Was that a way, I didn't, yeah, and with the waivers, I didn't see, stormwater, they asked, is there any waivers? I know the town has supplemental requirements on phosphorus removal. I haven't heard anything about that. Is that coming after, or this is? You have it in the stormwater, okay. So are they done?
The plans are pretty far along. I will admit that. There are a few things that are required post-approval, that would be recommended to be provided post-approval. Updated landscaping plan, some site lighting calculations, verification on some things, final details for construction, some grading. Snow storage was a comment that I had made. They had mentioned exactly what he just said. I would probably say we want to get some more detailed information on snow removal during major events post-approval, which many facilities had to deal with that with 37 inches of snow down here, I'm sure. But in regards to stormwater, many, if not all, I'm flipping through the comments right now, have been addressed resolved. There was a waiver on large caliper trees being shown on the existing conditions plan, but that was the only thing. That really isn't stormwater related per se.
So you feel comfortable basically with the civil and the stormwater, they're at good stage right now to, yeah.
Correct. I will say that I do, they did, it was an easy conversation to be had in regards to meeting the stormwater bylaw in town, which goes above and beyond the state standards, and the fact that they were easily able to comply with that requirement.
Okay, thank you.
And then with respect to the waivers plus, so 3 categories: waivers, post-approval if approved, submissions, and then conditions is, if the board is ready at the next hearing, it could be the topic of the next hearing, to walk through the waivers list, and the staff and peer review can provide their recommendations as they've done for other projects, et cetera. So that's something, if the board's ready, could be dealt with at the next hearing.
Have we finalized all the traffic concerns?
So my understanding on the traffic, and I know you're not the traffic engineer, but you work with them.
Yes.
But my understanding is all the back and forth has happened. They've gotten to where they are. I believe, but I'd have to go back and double check, I didn't have it with me today, the last set of comments back and forth, that there was this open issue about, the connections, safe connections to existing sidewalks, crosswalks, et cetera. We'd have to check. I'll have to go back and check the last round of peer review comments back and forth between their engineer and your engineer. But I believe that the recommendations of the traffic consultant are in those letters.
And they agreed to it, I believe, right, the recommendation.
Yeah, I don't want to quote you, but I thought you had said you thought that things had been closed out in the sense that there had been at least an agreement on where everything is, right? So not that it's all 100% met,
There were 2
but
more points of analysis that they were going to conduct, were they not?
They did.
They
The
did.
they did that.
Yes, they
Oh,
did.
they-
them.
Yeah, they did that.
They already did it.
I think that was discussed at the last hearing that we had the,
I think it was more some striping and signage on,
oh, yeah, little
Little
Lucy.
yeah,
Right, and
something
I think
like
that those
And they agreed, I think, and some,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're concerned about no
implementation.
parking signage as well along Lucy Little Road.
Right. So if you can help.
Yeah, so we were amenable to conditions placed by the board for those signage. Again, from what was last dictated over to me, we had sent comments back to Niche. And I, again, am not the traffic engineer on this, but they have not indicated to me that there was any additional comments that came back. We would have coordinated and resolved a submission together. So that's why I made that statement. Again, I'm not the direct traffic engineer. I'm site, drainage, stormwater, and those components. So we will coordinate with our consultant after this and make sure that they coordinate with Niche to make sure that everything is resolved there. I do have the traffic stuff. Again, if the board is amenable, the applicant is amenable to adding no parking signage, all of that, if, conditioned, and we can work through that.
Yeah, those were concerns that some of the immediate neighbors had, especially the people that were south of the project.
Yeah.
So returning to the site eligibility letter, mail delivery, is that going to be inside each building, or is there one central location? Or?
Gotta be formal here. Rick Lincoln, so they're in the amenities building is generally where we put them. If there is no amenities building, we'll put them inside each building. But post
Okay.
office kind of likes that one central area, so.
And then the one other, it's not in the site eligibility letter, but it's come up on all the projects, and maybe it was discussed, and I apologize if I'm forgetting, is the school bus stop. Is there a school bus stop
Yeah,
needed?
Sir, during the last discussion, it was that the bus will be stopping out in front of the property. Again, if it's, if the board would like to condition a bus stop be put within the town right-of-way along the frontage of the property, or if you tell me right now, I will add it to our plans moving forward. Same thing with if that is definitively something the board would like added to the plans, we can, again, either condition and/or, add as requested.
Well, I don't want to add it for the sake of adding it if it's going to cause additional concerns with traffic or with safety. I don't know if there's enough space for the bus to actually veer to the right, stop, have its flashes on, ensure that children can get on and off the bus. And obviously, if that were going to happen, we'd have to coordinate it to ensure that it's in some proximity to the crosswalks, if there are any children getting off the bus and going to go south rather than going into the subdivision north.
So
So I don't want to just ask for something for the sake of asking it, and it makes things less safe than what they otherwise could be.
Is it something that perhaps the applicant's traffic engineer could look at the locations and propose the safe location for?
I think Mr. Gabriel wanted to chime in on that. Is there something you have for a suggestion?
Not a suggestion, sir, but to go along with your point, I just heard the idea of a bus stop in the right-of-way, and I echo your concerns there about traffic safety and having a structure in the right-of-way without having proper review by the traffic engineer on that. I think I like the idea of a condition to review a location for one, whether on the property or adjacent to the property there.
Because sometimes the fact that the bus will stay right in the middle of the roadway and stop traffic is probably the safest way to handle it. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in that.
It's why they have the stop signs on the bus, exactly. Yep.
Okay, so the other items that were in the site eligibility letter, like the environmental remediation overview, the applicant did that a couple of hearings ago. So I believe as far as the comments in the site eligibility letter, it appears that they've been touched upon by the board in all the hearings, and some of them are to be resolved, but they've at least all been discussed or touched upon.
So this one initially seemed to be moving the slowest, but yet it's actually proceeding along.
Once you go past the traffic and the civils.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak either in favor or in opposition to this project? All right, there not appearing to be anyone.
Are
Is there any other
are there any further iterations of the plans that you are planning to submit, or that you have submitted everything?
Yeah, so, we got those last set of comments last week, which was just an initial, change to the cover. I actually have those, very, just clerical things. We can supply, given the short period of time from last Thursday to today, we didn't want to, submit hard copies, given if there was additional changes. But it's just, 3 or 4 sheets that will be supplied. We can package up and provide a final full hard copy submission to the town upon request.
Mr. Chair, I think it would be helpful for the peer reviewers and the staff that are reviewing the waivers and proposed conditions to have a full set, all with one revision date on it. That could be the set on which they would be making recommendations to the board, if that makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Whenever.
Yeah, we can pull it together ASAP.
All right.
And you would reference the approval to that set anyways, with.
Right, so that's why I think having one set with one revision date, which is everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we just, for ease, submitted just the individual sheets that just showed the number of units on the car. And the rest of the set's exactly the same. Didn't need to confuse with additional information.
11 by 17 is fine, you don't need to get the full big set, right?
Hold on one second. Mr. Gabriel?
Yeah, just one comment on that. If they submit that last set of plans, if we could just make sure we get a letter or a statement, just what has changed on that plan, so that all the engineers don't need to comb through the details again.
That'll save time.
Save money?
So as the staff and peer reviewers have done on other projects, the thought would be to take the most current waiver list that was submitted, whatever that most recent is, and then similarly add a column where the recommendations of the staff and peer reviewers are inserted, and then walk through that with the board at the next hearing.
When is the next hearing on this?
Michelle, is that proposed for April 30th? Thursday, April 30th?
Okay.
But that would also give time, if the board would like, to pull together kind of a draft of proposed conditions to start discussing as well.
Yep.
And do that right, currently, just from a timing perspective, the applicant had already provided the board with an extension of the date that you're required to close the hearing. That current extended date is Thursday, May 14th. So, absent any further extensions, which at this point may not be needed, then the board would be required to close the hearing no later than May 14th. You then, under the regulations, have another 40 days to finalize the decision and file it with the town clerk, but during that period of time, they couldn't be public hearings, so you couldn't get input from the applicant or the public or anyone else. So I don't know if we're able to pull everything together, meaning myself with your consultants and staff, to review and discuss all that on April 30th. And then if the board is able to meet, I don't know what your schedule is for May, on May 14th, then that would be time for the board to review it, give feedback, for the applicant to review, give feedback, and then work through those, questions, concerns, issues on waivers and conditions. May 14th, I'm making that up. If that works for the board, I don't know. So that's a proposed schedule
What
for
day
the
of the week
board.
is the 14th?
Thursday.
The Thursday?
So anyway, that's just a suggested schedule for the board to consider.
Well, I guess we'll touch upon more of that on the 30th, but at this point, I'd like to see what the waivers are, all the waivers, and if we can start putting together, and I like the fact that you want some, whatever issues are still, there's some suggestions coming from
Yep.
the peer consultants. I like that. And then maybe we can already start putting together a draft of conditions.
Right. Okay,
I'm going to sort of lean on you for that,
okay.
okay?
Yeah, I'm going to pull together from all the different,
Yes.
okay.
Water and sewer, is that next?
I'm sorry?
The water and sewer, what is that? We haven't.
I don't know if Mr. Barber could give an update. Sorry, Mr. Barber. If that's okay, Mr. Chair, you would know better than me.
I don't want to put him on the spot, but it's within his purview.
Yes. So I can say that Stantec had issued a draft memorandum for their peer review. So we had sent it back with some comments, and we received it back today. I had sent it to Michelle today. So, it'd be a good idea after the applicant, reviews those comments, we could meet with the peer reviewer consultant and go over any issues. I know there are concerns with, I think, 3 pump stations in the general area, sewer pump stations, and directly out front is a force main that was installed by the Cedars Assisted Living Complex that pumps all the way down to Morton Avenue. So that force main is also a concern for capacity, as well as a north pump station and wastewater treatment facility. So, all those impacts to those facilities would like to be evaluated.
That's all you could say, right?
That's it. Yep. And on the memo, it just states that additional information is needed for further review for both domestic and fire flow for water, and as well as the sewer flows. So, yeah.
Any questions on that, gentlemen? All right, thank you. All right, so Representative, you want to come up? Just so that, we got to pick another date, right? We already have you penciled in for April 30th. That seem like a good date for you folks?
Works for us, right? Yeah, I think that's April 30th.
I think we're going to work on getting, a nice list of the waivers and what they are, and I guess from page to page, is that how you're going to do them?
Yeah, I think you guys have been supplied the waiver list, so.
Yeah,
On this one?
yeah, we have the
I'm
list.
looking
It's
at
just,
another one from another, from the other
it's,
site. I'm looking at the one in
they're all,
Hawthorne.
they're all merging at this point. Yes, it's
Is
been.
that all of them?
Yeah,
That's all of them?
that's the list.
That's the complete list, and I don't think there was anything missed.
Not as bad, right? Yeah. Well, I was looking at 100 and something just this weekend, so, for another site.
Right. Right, so that's why I'm saying that hopefully won't take too long for peer review and staff to take a look at, and that's why we may also, because it's a decent amount of time between now and April 30th to pull together conditions and everything too, because it's not too heavy of a list
Right.
compared to the other one that we were looking at.
Okay. So I guess the 30th won't be a problem. Unless, do we have another date that would be available? No. Case. Okay, so we put it on for the 30th. Well, they've always been very, very cooperative in working with us if something were to come about and whatever else. So, gentlemen, if we're okay with the 30th, we'll put you on for the 30th for the next hearing date. I'll entertain a motion, gentlemen.
I make a motion that we continue comprehensive permit ZCMP 25-2 to April 30th at 6 o'clock.
Yes. Here in this building, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. See everyone on the 30th of April. All right, moving on to the next portion of tonight's meeting. It's the administrative portion of the meeting. The first matter we have on is review and approval of administrative minutes of January 8, 2026. Folks, I'd ask if you could just keep the speaking down or the talking to a very minimal. We're still in session. Review and approval of administrative minutes of January 8, 2026, gentlemen.
I have nothing to add.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I make a motion that we approve the administrative minutes of January 8th, 2026 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it. Review and approval of special permit minutes, ZSP 25-5, State Road Map 163, lots 31, 32, and 35.
I have nothing to add.
I have nothing, Mr.
Neither do
Chair.
I, gentlemen.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the special permit ZSP-25-5 for State Road Map 163, lots 31, 32, and 35 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Review and approval of use variant ZAV 25-8 minutes, State Road 163, lots 31, 32, and 35.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I have nothing to add.
Dr. Agai, any comments? No, thank you.
I make a motion, we approve the minutes of use variance ZAV-25-8 for State Road Map 163, lots 31, 32, and 35 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Review and approval of variance ZAV 25-9 minutes, State Road 163, lots 31, 32, and 35.
I have nothing to add.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Aye. Doctor?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for variance ZAV-25-9, State Road Map 163 lots, is this the right one?
Yeah, you did. 31.
31, 32, and 35 as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Review and approval of variance ZAV 25-14 minutes, 0 State Road, map 53, lot 12.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I have nothing to add, Mr. Chair. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for variance case ZAV-25-14, 0 State Road, map 53, lot 12, as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Review and approval of variance ZAV 25-12 minutes of 1 Cleveland Street, map 117, lot 169.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I have nothing to add.
Neither do I.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for variance case ZAV-25-12 for 1 Cleveland Street, map 117, lot 169, as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next is review and approval of comprehensive permit ZCMP-25-1, minutes for 970 Tucker Road.
I have nothing to add.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of comprehensive permit ZCMP-25-1 for 960 Tucker Road as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Last is review and approval of comprehensive permit ZCMP-25-3, minutes for 0 Hathaway Road.
I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
I have nothing to add. I make a motion that we approve the minutes for comprehensive permit ZCMP-25-3, minutes 0 Hathaway Road as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. So that completes everything we have on tonight's agenda, gentlemen. Is there any other business, any old business that we'd like to discuss, or any new business?
Nothing. I have nothing, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Agai, any old business or new business?
Thank you.
All right, there not being any business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, gentlemen.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it.